What I'm saying is, if it wasn't in the limo, he might have gone for it.
I could.
I mean, again, Chuck is Chuck, does whatever Chuck wants to do.
Hey, Upper East Siders and all you scandal-loving listeners out there. You just tuned into the Non-Judging Breakfast Pod, where the coffee is strong, the waffles are fresh, and the gossip is hotter than ever. My name is Leif, and I'm your seasoned Gossip Girl veteran.
And I'm Steve, the newbie, the greenhorn, I don't know, Leif, what do you call the fresh meat in Gossip Girl terms?
I don't know. Let's get you some Bacardi and see what happens.
Hey, all right. Well, I'm ready to start a fashion show at this point, I feel.
Sounds good.
So here's the deal, folks. Leif has been watching Gossip Girl since it first aired, and I'm diving in for the very first time. And together, we're your dynamic duo, bringing you all the glamour, romance, and sometimes questionable fashion choices of this iconic 2007 series.
That's right. Each week, we're going to take a deep dive into the show, one episode at a time. We're going to be looking at all the obscure references, parallels, and sometimes the couture catastrophes. We're also going to take a look at the fandom stories and some behind-the-scenes gossip along the way.
And since we're all about inclusivity here at the Non-Judging Breakfast Pod, there's always a seat for you at the Non-Judging Breakfast table. So go ahead and grab your mimosa, your cup of coffee, or some of Chuck and Nate's special medicine, and let's go ahead and get this started.
Okay, Steve. Once again, we are not alone. We got another guest with us.
Yes, please welcome. This week we have with us John Paul from the last Roundup Horror Show podcast, and the WTF Did I Just Watch podcast. Welcome, Jean Paul.
Thanks for joining us.
Thank you very much for joining us.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So, being on the show with us, could you give us a little bit of your history with Gossip Girl? Because I know you said you and your wife watched, I believe, during the pandemic.
Yeah, so
Tell us a
that's
little.
my only, my introduction. During the pandemic, we were all locked up looking for stuff to watch, looking for stuff to do. And my wife knows that one of my biggest weakness in life is teen melodramas. And I don't know how Gossip Girl missed me because, I grew up with, 90210, Dawson's Creek, a lot of the CW, WP shows.
Yep.
And
I was the same way.
And this just fit perfectly. And she's like, what do you think you've never watched Gossip Girl? And I'm like, well, I've heard of it, because I also used to watch One Tree Hill and all of those kind of shows, even Seventh Heaven. Like I said, I was one of those kids that, I was hooked on the fantasy of fake romance on TV.
Yeah.
I call it. I'm like, I have a crush on that girl because, she was X person.
So just as a reminder, Steve has not seen past this episode, so no spoilers.
Oh, no, I won't spoil anything. But so do
you have a favorite or least favorite character or both?
Oh, gosh. On Gossip Girl, let's see, a least favorite character. I mean, right from the back, you're supposed to hate, the Bass Man, I guess.
Yeah.
He is a Bass Man.
Yeah, but the problem is as it, the show progresses, I kind of enjoy.
They try to force you to like him.
Exactly. So it's like they succeeded. And
so is that your favorite character then?
No, that's still kind of my least favorite.
It's nothing wrong with that. It is a lot of people's favorite character.
I know, but favorite, it really is a toss up between Blair and good old Humphrey. Dan.
Good choices.
Only because I have, again, after watching Gossip Girl and then that show You came out on Netflix, which originally was on Lifetime. That's, again, I know teen melodrama, so I know stuff like that. I was just like, oh my gosh, Gossip Girl is almost like a prequel story to the show You. Maybe. In my head canon, that is what I'd say, and I'm going to go with it because
I've heard that.
A lot of people have said that.
It just fits perfectly. So yeah,
I haven't watched you for that reason because I want to watch you with that headcanon.
Oh, then definitely wait until you get done with this show because it'll give you a nice
couple years.
Yeah, I've got a couple years, but you know,
you won't go anywhere. I mean, I think it ends this year, but you'll have all of them on Netflix forever.
Yep.
So yeah, I don't know. Serena's another but they make you love her. That's the thing. So that's why
they make me hate Serena. Serena makes me hate Serena.
Yeah, exactly. But Blair, I don't know. There's just something about her, and the actress that plays her is just entertaining with her quirkiness. So Blair's probably my favorite. And there are episodes
where a lot about her acting.
Yeah, and there are episodes where I'm just hate you in this episode.
Yeah.
But that's what a good character does.
Exactly.
A good character, you should not like them all the time, and you shouldn't like all the decisions they make, because then what's to like about them? You know, I think that I'm at a point now with Gossip Girl where Dan has turned from being my favorite character, and I've grown to like him less, but a lot of that's because he's making decisions that I think are shitty, which are really great character decisions, despite how shitty they are.
Mm-hmm.
I could not agree with you more on that.
I think Jenny is actually my favorite character.
I think mine,
and I always root for Jenny to win.
Okay.
Yeah. This
episode is kind of a mixed bag.
The only time I've ever really been upset with Jenny was when she fucked with Eric. You know, when she was shitty to Eric, like that. No. Lay off my boy.
So we are here to talk about Season 2, Episode 9, There Might Be Blood. This originally aired on November 3rd, 2008, and the title was based on the movie There Will Be Blood. 2007, Paul Thomas Anderson, Daniel Day-Lewis, Paul Dano.
That's the name I was trying to remember. I remember seeing that.
I mean,
it got such rave reviews.
It was well shot.
It was beautiful.
It was great. The acting was amazing. It was a boring movie.
Boring.
See,
nothing really happened. Nothing happened.
I've been afraid to say that for 20 years because.
See, I agree with you saying that nothing happens, but the end, that kind of the way it ends, where it's just kind of like,
you got a miserable bastard.
You're just a miserable bastard, and you got screwed no matter what.
Yeah.
That's really what got me. That's what made me say, wow, Daniel Day-Lewis, you definitely are one of the best actors around.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. It's marvelously acted by him and Paul Dano.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like they could have taken an hour out of that movie and moved it along a little bit better. I always felt like it was too long to not have stuff to be that slow.
That's Paul Thomas Anderson as a director, though. He loves just long run times. And, it's him, Tarantino, and Scorsese. I mean, again, they're wonderful directors and everything, and they make good movies, but sometimes it's like, learn how to edit your movie, please.
Yeah.
I didn't even really mind that. I just like to see some character development.
All right.
Did this come out around the time of Old Country for No Men too?
A couple years after.
Yeah, it was a couple years after. Yeah.
I just remember they kind of occupy some of the same space in my brain of. I remember Old Country for No Men being like, this is good, but it's slow, like that same kind of feel to it.
Oh, I thought that was much better pace, but it was ruined by the ending.
Maybe that's what I'm thinking. I haven't seen either of those movies since they hit DVD.
Well, the ending was that it was all a dream. He wakes up and it's all a dream.
That's stupid. Spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert.
Too bad.
You've had 20 years to watch that.
Son of a bitch.
And even longer to read the book.
Yeah.
Television Without Pity. Jacob recaps the episode. Blair spends the entire episode chasing a young crazy girl around the Upper East Side after Serena offers her services as babysitter to corner another Yale connection. Young Emma is determined to lose her eponymous virginity, before her friend Muffy, and it takes the combined forces of an Aaron-distracted Serena and a chivalrous Chuck to keep her in line.
Agnes and Jenny plan a Guerrilla fashion show at a charity ball, which turns out to be honoring Bart and Lily. Rufus goes completely crazy and tries to have Little J arrested for the stunt, but Lily steps in because it was awesome, and then Rufus cries the tears of a slightly involved, very shitty parent. Jenny runs off through the streets of Brooklyn with only her sewing machine and about 40 pounds of eyeshadow. Homeless Cinderella Jenny is even cooler than regular Jenny, which is only slightly cooler than the totally awesome, insane Agnes.
Rufus somewhat redeems himself by lecturing Dan about how not everyone is a wonderkin, but Dan is so jealous of the attention Little J is getting that he ends up writing the Charlie Trout story after all, selling his soul and signing one more page of the massive death warrant he keeps begging Chuck to put on him. Speaking of slightly douchey artist Serena has loved, she spends the entire time obsessing over Aaron, who's a bigger whore than Nate Archibald ever was. Serena, having never worked for anything in her entire life, loves the idea of actually dating someone with as much Serena power as she herself has. Although I believe that much like Chuck, Aaron's growdiness power is contained in his giant, stupid scars.
After spotting Nate and Jenny kissing on Gossip Girl, snapped by Lil Serena from Attack of the Clones in Central Park, Dan makes it very clear that Nate's history of prostitution is not cool, and tosses him out of the Humphrey house on his ass. Nice to have D-Bag Dan back after last week, and even nicer to see him slipping down that slippery ethical slope so quickly. Chuck comes running to save Nate, of course, and realizes how out of control things have gotten. But Nate's pride keeps him from giving in to Chuck's tender ministrations, and he runs off to the Hamptons to sit out what would seem to be the most OMFG episode of all time next week. Meanwhile, Vanessa flips out after seeing Nate and Jenny kissing in real life and hopefully jumps off a roof. Their words, not mine.
Yeah. So, John Paul, you say you watch a lot of teen dramas. Did you ever frequent Television Without Pity?
Oh, man. Not really.
Nah.
No.
Okay.
Yeah, we always like to get was this the Blaylist again? Was this back to the, I know you were telling me about it before, but I only this was a good one again. We've they stopped using, like, we were doing the one that they would do, like a short one in the episode thread, but then that stopped for whatever reason. I guess that guy stopped watching it at the end of season, or the last one he did was the season 2 premiere. Yeah.
And then, so we decided to go back to the full one. It's Jake was actually pretty famous. I think he actually still now is a entertainment writer.
Oh, good.
He worked. Yeah. Most of the staff writers from Television Without Pity went on to become like magazine writers.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. Of course, now they're back to writing online now. So this episode, speaking of writing, it was written by Eitan Fields. This is the first of 2 episodes that he did, and he co-wrote it with John Stevens, and this is his second episode. He also wrote The Dark Knight earlier this season.
Oh, okay.
And then it was directed by Michael Fields, who's back. He did Roman Holiday, Desperately Seeking Serena, and Never Been Marcus. Roman Holiday was a good episode. The other 2, not so much.
Yeah.
Not necessarily the fault of the directing, though.
No, not at all. Especially, both of those were in that phase, in that post-writer's strike, pre
getting to where they are
reboot.
Now.
Yeah.
Hey there, scandal-loving listeners. Did you ever wonder if there was a way you could support your favorite Gossip Girl podcast? Well, now there is. Just visit patreon.com/nonjudgingbreakfastpod. There are 4 tiers to choose from. Come claim your spot at the non-judging breakfast table by visiting patreon.com/nonjudgingbreakfastpod.
So let's go ahead and get into Act 1. Spotted at Mood. Jenny Humphrey, 16 yards of tulle. But since when does Eleanor Waldorf pay for her purchases with a penny jar? They say a stitch in time saves 9. Will it save little J? Pretty good one.
Yeah.
Jenny and Agnes are preparing for a fashion show and talking about Nate freezing Jenny out since last week. So yeah, this is the opening scene. You got Jenny and Agnes, rushing around the loft, getting ready and talking about how Nate's been blowing Jenny off.
Yeah, which, I can see how that would be upsetting to Jenny.
Yeah.
But also I can understand Nate.
You see what happens once everyone finds out. So yeah, it's definitely understandable.
Yeah.
Nate and Dan are discussing Jenny, and Nate is being evasive when Dan gets a call from Jordan. Dan is all up in his own head again. Although, once again, we find out he was right to be up in his head this time.
Yeah, he was. And also, when he's like, oh, it's good to be Nate. Because he doesn't remember this woman that he was, making out with a couple weeks ago at Yale.
Again, so I got on Aaron last week for tolerating shitty behavior to people he doesn't care about. Just being selective about shitty behavior.
Yeah.
And I got called Dan out for kind of the same thing here, because he's fine with Nate being the sleazeball with his TA, but once it's his sister, it's a different story.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you're right on that.
Serena and Blair are meeting with a friend of Dean Barabay's. Serena volunteers Blair to babysit the woman's daughter. No way this could possibly go wrong.
Yeah, your thoughts, John Paul?
So,
yeah, feel free to jump in at any time.
Yeah.
Well, I'll just go back to the whole the beginning with Jenny and everything, and her she's very neurotic in this episode.
Yeah.
And I don't know if
much.
it's the stress of her trying to get this guerrilla fashion show going, or what it was, but even
I think it's a combination of things.
Yeah.
It's that, and also stressing about what's Nate thinking.
What's Nate thinking? Yeah.
What do you mean?
Yeah, and
A week.
And even like I said, I don't know. I don't want to jump ahead and rate this yet, but the interactions at the beginning of Jenny and Nate kind of really just it seemed kind of off to me compared to the previous episode.
Yeah.
So I guess maybe it does give you that feel of something happened, so they're kind of avoiding each other because something happened. Kind of cliche. I mean, this storyline, like I said, because I know teen melodramas, is very similar in a bunch of other shows where
very much.
the sibling has now made out with the other's sibling's friend and those kind of things, and the weird entrapment of what's going to happen next. The execution is not as well as I've seen it in other shows in this episode. And for the show, in my opinion.
Which kind of happens a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't want to jump ahead, so I'll wait until you get to further parts in it.
No problem. Serena runs into Aaron as she's about to look past the fact that he was with another woman last week, when yet another woman runs up and kisses him.
On the mouth.
Yeah.
On the mouth.
Just runs up and kisses him on the mouth. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. That happens.
Yeah.
Yeah, I felt like this episode was very even, and I'll get into it more as we get to the grades. But yeah, the one storyline was really good. I thought this storyline was not as good.
Yeah.
And also the Blair storyline was not great either.
Yeah, and it's funny because we talked last week about how, or maybe it was 2 weeks ago, about how this show will run 3 plot lines and tie all 3 plot lines up at the end of they'll run 3 stories an episode and tie them all up, and to varying degrees of success. And really, I feel like the A storyline of Jenny was great, like you said. The B storyline of Blair, I thought was all right. I thought it was a really weird one.
Yeah.
And then the C storyline of Serena and Aaron is just like, why are we doing this?
Aaron is a real dud of a character.
Yeah, why are we doing this? Can she hand him some Coke?
Dan and Nate gets back to the loft and just in time to see Jenny and Agnes leaving to set up the fashion show. Busted.
Such a judgy dick, too. He's...
Yeah.
Dan, like...
I mean, I can kind of understand. I mean, he's conflicted about the whole thing.
I mean, he doesn't really know what she's doing other than just putting all of these outfits together to do a big show. Like, she's not, to his knowledge, she's not doing anything illegal.
Well, his issue is that she's just not telling Rufus.
Yeah. So don't tell Rufus. Be a big brother for once. And
He's not doing.
He does tell Rufus.
Well, after it's like over.
Yeah, but I think he's also, it's that line of being a big brother.
He tells Rufus, he tells Rufus when Rufus sees them leaving.
He tells Rufus as soon as he has the opportunity to tell.
No,
Rufus.
They were at Rufus, the gallery.
I'm saying that Rufus walks in and he's like, I'm afraid she's making a mistake.
I don't think he told her then. I don't think he told him that.
That the next time we see them, they're chasing them down.
No, they're just walking up and then they see him like take it off.
Yeah, because he kisses
I think
Nate.
he had already.
He kisses
They were
Nate
all together.
When they see him, they were all together, but then he does end up kissing Nate, and that's when they see it and everything. But also, I mean, Dan is playing that like middle of the road type brother that you're like, you want to help and support your sister, but you also kind of want to be a big brother and like protect them, and also like be like, well, I'm the big brother, so I'm in charge of you, that kind of thing.
It's not necessarily.
It's that balance.
It's the big thing.
Yeah,
she's already dropped out of school. Now she's left her job, and it's like, what's going on? Talk to your dad, basically. That's basically all Dan's saying, I think.
Yeah, and
I really, and we'll get to it in a little bit, but I really think he told Rufus right away. Like, I got the impression he told Rufus immediately.
It appears Blair is in for more than Serena bargained for when little Emma comes out in the club attire and proclaims, I want Bacardi and a boy, and this body is open for business. Just what you want every 13-year-old girl to say.
Yeah, that was that okay. Whole storyline of go ahead.
I will say so she. I'm glad you clarified her age, because boy, did I think she was younger.
Well, she could be younger.
I thought she was
at least like middle school.
That's what I thought. Like, so middle schools are like 12 years old, and that's why I was just like, it's almost just a cringe-worthy moment. She comes out, and then she's just like, I've got a credit card and a fake ID, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, no, this is just too cringy. Yeah. This is too weird.
Yeah.
Although fair enough that the show actually finally pointed out fake ID. These kids, must have fake IDs.
Yeah.
Because they've been going to the bar since they were 13.
This scene also, we learned that Serena was 8 when she met Aaron, who is, the possible college graduate now talking to this senior. So I wonder if she was 8, he may have been as old as like 12. Like, that's just fucking weird.
That is weird.
Yeah.
The other thing I wanted to point out, though, the girl playing Emma, I really liked her. I really liked the acting. I really liked how she played off of stuff. Like, her look when Serena's like, you're going to have to raid my closet. Like, I thought that she really came across as that, like, little girl kind of...
The excitement?
The little fangirl kind of stuff I appreciated.
Dan gets the full story from Jenny, who puts all her cards on the table and puts her fate in her brother's hands. Dan does the brother thing and gives Jenny the few hours she needs.
Yeah. This is also when Vanessa was really judgy about Nate, right? Like,
no, that's when they're at the gallery.
Oh, I thought
they're still at the loft here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because they're going back and forth, I think, with Vanessa, like, figuring out whether she's still
I don't think Vanessa's actually even appeared yet.
Oh, okay.
I don't think Vanessa's actually appeared yet.
Okay, so this is before that. Okay.
Yeah. This is when they're still at the lot. Like there's like a little break, like when they like Dan sees them leaving, and there's a break, and then now we come back and she explains everything.
Okay.
And Dan does let her leave basically at that point. And then the next scene is Blair is bitching out Serena for getting her into the MMS. They also discuss Aaron, and Blair tells Serena to shut that shit down. I agree. Serena and Blair come up with a plan to keep Emma occupied.
I jumped ahead. That's why I missed it.
Yeah, so this is where they come up with the plan to take her to the old people event.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know it'd be this boring.
Yeah, that whole scene was really odd. Again, it just because, I don't know, that whole like plan to trick a girl to get deflowered by, the elite.
Well, to try to, but
well, they're not trying to get her to fly. They're trying to just keep her.
Well, yeah.
She's not gonna get the flower.
No,
there.
but the fact that they said to her, "Hey,
oh yeah,
well, let's go somewhere, better," and instead of just behind this guy's alley, so to speak.
Yeah, to promise the 13-year-old we're going to go find you sex at the elite event is a little weird.
That was so weird.
Well, I assume what Emma was thinking was probably like a party with like the Nate and Chucks of the world.
Right, exactly.
Which she then ends up finding, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
without any help. At the gallery, actually, one more thing for that scene, and you were talking about her being all excited for the dresses. Mm-hmm. How is she fitting into these dresses?
Oh yeah, she is. These are half a Serena.
These are +1 dresses, I guess.
they're magic +1 dresses.
So
they automatically resize to your build.
It's magic.
She's a Vanderwoodson.
Yeah. So at the gallery, this is what. Yeah, here we get the Dan Vanessa here. At the gallery, Dan is still weighing his decision not to title on Jenny. Vanessa is advising Dan to give Jenny some more time. Wow. They also discuss the Nate situation. Vanessa still clearly has feelings for Nate.
Yeah. Fuck you, Vanessa. Just every fucking time, why do you just have to be such a downer?
Giving Dan... Why did she spill the tea to Dan about Nate?
Yeah.
That was the thing that got Dan the most upset.
Yeah. Yeah, and like she violated Nate's trust by telling Dan. Yeah. Like, how would you do that? Like,
Chuck and Emma meet in the great room of the Vanderbass penthouse. Chuck blows up Serena and Blair's ruse and picks up Emma.
You just hooked yourself a bat.
Oh, yeah. Did you think he was going to go for it here? I was like, no. I mean, first season Chuck, I think, would have.
I think episode 1 Chuck would have, for sure. I think season 1 before Victor Victrola, yes. I think after Victor Victrola, no, because of Blair. But also maybe season 2, episode 2, Chuck.
Yeah, there's a string of episodes where he's trying to hook up with multiple prostitutes and failing at it.
Yeah.
but see, that's where I'm gonna have to disagree with you, only because the type of person that he's a very conniving and tactful person in his own mind. So he knows that a young girl who is, let's say she's 12 or 13. And he is 17. He knows that that's not going to get him anywhere.
Yeah.
But I counter that with pilot episode where he is 16 and Jenny is 13. Only 1 year difference.
But again, I don't know. It's tough.
I guess it depends on how old this girl actually is.
Yeah.
I think she could pass as 13.
She could pass as 13.
Which is a weird thing to say.
Yeah. She passes 13. But I in my head, again, I still feel like this girl's like 12.
Which she could be.
She could be. She could be anywhere from like 12, 11.
I'd say 12 to 14.
Yeah. So even what
But not
ensues
14 because
what ensues is she tries to jump him and he just goes, no, I'm not gonna. So I'm like, okay, and it goes like I said, it goes back to his character of like, you hate him and you love him and you hate him and you love him, and like
and you hate to love
you hate to love him exactly.
Serena receives another licorice ring from Aaron and is immediately interrupted by Blair, who has discovered Emma is missing. An old stale piece of licorice.
Yeah.
That's not weird that he kept the piece of licorice for 8 years?
Yeah, 9 years. She says, "Let's wait another 9 years." Is what she says when she's walking away.
Kind of creepy, or that this guy's MO, and that's what he did with all the.
Yeah.
He made him licorice rings.
Yeah, he has like a trophy case of licorice rings, each with the name of the
girl.
of the little girl he married at camp.
Yes. When he was a camp counselor.
Yeah, he started when he was 6 years old and then just kept going every year until he became a counselor. Oh, disgusting. And that's who all these girls are.
Yeah.
That's my new fan theory.
I mean, I'm gonna be on board with that because he just is a creep.
He only has come across as creepy to me so far.
Chuck is riding in his limo with Emma, who is trying to throw herself at him. Spotted. Bass taking the bait. Jailbait, that is. Yeah, Chuck is sitting there in the limo.
Yeah.
We learn later, though, he holds the limo sacred. Jenny, while loading a van to go to the fashion show, is trying to get Nate to admit his feelings. Nate can't seem to verbalize, so just offers to drive. Rufus, Vanessa, and Dan walk up just in time to see the van pull away.
So this is why I felt so earlier on. Rufus walked in when Dan said, "I'm just worried she's making a huge mistake," and Rufus was right there and goes, "Who?" So the next time we see them, it's Dan, Rufus, and Vanessa all walking up together to where Jenny was. I assumed then Dan is a snitch. That Dan was like,
the way they were walking, though, they're just so casually walking.
Yeah, I would agree. They were very much casually walking until they saw the van pulling away. But before that, there was the kiss, right?
Yeah,
if I remember.
No, the kiss has not happened.
I'm sorry, you're right. The kiss has not happened. But there's that weird closeness, and then because then they
also they're seeing their 15-year-old daughter getting into a strange van,
right. Well,
which is always concerning.
My thought on this
van,
is,
right? If I remember right.
Yeah, Nate's driving.
Yeah.
So there is this
one of my, and kind of where I lead to this is that even if Dan, when Rufus came in, didn't say, "Hey, Jenny's doing this thing," he did know where Jenny was parked and did at least lead Rufus right to it. Like, I feel like Dan led Rufus to her. Whether he came out and said Jenny's making a huge mistake, that is just my gut feeling on this, is that Dan couldn't keep his mouth shut, or at least,
I mean, it seemed like they should have been gone by then.
Well, they were loading up. I mean,
they were loading up when he left, went to the gallery, had a whole conversation with Vanessa about it. Then you're saying told Rufus, and then walked all the way back.
But I mean, they were right. I'm just saying that was the impression I got, that Dan took.
Fair enough.
Because they
disagree.
Yeah. Well, my last closing point to that is they did close up the gallery to go back to the loft. So
it was getting towards evening at that point.
Yeah. Yeah. They've been opened in the evening.
When they had shows. They had that big opening. Maybe they have some employees now.
Do you think it's beyond Dan to snitch here?
No, but I just don't think
No further questions, Your Honor.
Yeah. Okay. That's not how it works. It's gotta be reasonable doubt. There's plenty of reasonable doubt there.
I've got zero doubt.
All right, we go into Act 2. Blair confronts Chuck about Emma, who denies having done anything with her. Because Serena is best friends with every bartender in town, she gets a text alert telling her that E. Boardman has used her credit card at One Oak. Blair ropes both Serena and Chuck into helping her track down the troublemaker.
The back of the limo is sacred.
Yes.
But that girl assaulted me.
That's exactly what he said. Yeah, that girl assaulted me. So again,
yeah,
Chuck there is trying to be a stand-up gentleman.
Yeah.
Chuck 2.0.
But again,
I can't fault him in this episode at all.
No.
And when I say stand-up gentleman, I mean covering his own ass because he doesn't want to go to jail for statutory rape.
Yeah. Whatever his reason, he does the right thing.
Yeah. He does the right thing in the best way that Chuck does his right thing to benefit Chuck.
Yeah.
Well, I believe in this moment that he believes that the limo is sacred.
Yeah, I do think.
And at this very moment, I don't know if that's going to stay that way, but at this moment, he believes that.
All right. I'll give you that. I'll give you that. So that goes back to his own beliefs and his own stand-up thing.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Outside the Palace Hotel, what I'm saying is, if it wasn't the limo, he might have gone for it.
I could.
I mean, again, Chuck is Chuck, does whatever Chuck wants to do. Except have sex with a young girl.
Yeah. Outside the palace, Jenny tells Nate how they are having a guerrilla fashion show here because they need wealthy financial backers. Jenny persuades Nate to stay and help with the show.
I love that Jenny has really done the work. Like they really, really establish over and over that Jenny has done the work to earn what she's doing.
Yeah.
And over and over she has proven that, which is one of the things that makes me like that character so much.
Now, I also feel like I agree with you saying that she has done the work. You also have her friend, I forget her friend's name right now. Agnes. Just really being that little devil on the side.
Yeah.
Going, yeah, you could do this. Yeah, let's do this, Yeah, I'm going to make sure that this happens for us, Secretly.
I'm interested to see if we find out more of her reasons in the coming episodes.
Can I also say that I can't say her name without wanting to say Agnes, Agatha, Jermaine, and Jack?
Fair
enough. I
enough.
have friends, and that's a fact. Like Agatha, Agnes, Agatha, Jermaine, and Jack.
Very nice.
You got what I need. You say he's just a friend. You say he's just a friend. Oh, baby, you. I actually saw him DJ. Andre's band did this, like his tribute band did this 90s, 80s thing at the TLA. And in between the sets, Biz Marquee came out and DJ'd. And he just really, like, it was so much fun. Played like the great mix of like perfect to the crowd, and played the first half of that. He's like, I'm going to remind you all why you know me. Played the first half of the song and then stopped and he goes, we'll do the rest later.
In 98, I saw him open up for the Beastie Boys.
Oh,
I saw live the Benny and the Jets Beastie Boys that is on one of the B-sides of the Beastie Boys album.
Oh, that's awesome.
So it's Biz Marquee and the Beastie Boys. So, rest in peace,
Awesome.
Biz
Really
Marquee.
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or went out to the homies.
Yeah. Biz's beat of the day from Yo Gabba Gabba. Like, my kids were into that shit. He was generational.
Mm-hmm. Blair and Serena track down Emma, who is flirting with a guy in a booth. Blair and Serena momentarily distracted. Emma sneaks out with her new boy toy.
Yeah. I love how she refers to Aaron as your albatross. Like, we'll worry about your albatross after I find mine.
Yeah, but Blair's speaking truth this episode about Aaron, at least.
Blair sees right through this shit and wants nothing to do with this Aaron guy. Although I believe there's also a pattern developing of when Serena likes someone, Blair doesn't. That kind of, I know I have been like that as a friend too, that like, whoever my one friend brought home, I didn't like,
So John Paul, I have a theory that throughout the show, there's like a hidden subtext of Blair being in love with Serena,
which you've also mentioned.
I mean, I would not take that away. No, I agree with you. Yeah. I mean, yeah. There's that weird jealousy, you know.
Yeah.
But it's also
like they never really go there, but it's just under the surface.
Yeah, but I mean, there's that, and there's also like they kind of like have that competing thing where they like look up to each other in a weird way, and then they like and get upset if the other one like does something extremely stupid. So obviously, when
they're extremely codependent.
Yeah. So obviously, when it comes to like guys, they're going to be like, yeah, he's not good for you.
Yeah, and there's that thought of
no, I'm not going to tell you.
Yeah. And there's a thought of, does she want to be with Serena or does she want to be Serena?
That's a good point.
A lot of that jealousy comes up a lot too. So when Serena's with someone that she doesn't like, well, I wouldn't like that person.
Right.
You know?
What? I don't think she wants to be Serena. She wants the attention, but she wants to be her and get the attention.
Yeah.
Serena gets.
I think she wants the attention and she wants the ease of Serena. That Serena, things just come naturally and easy in Blair's mind. That she wants not to have to work for every little bit of approval.
The golden child.
Yeah.
Inside the gala, Jenny realizes Bart and Lily are the ones getting honored and starts to get a bit nervous. However, Jenny, always the quick thinker, checks in under Eric's name. So
smooth. Sometimes they leave off the A.
Yeah.
So smooth.
And where is Eric, though? Why isn't he at this event?
Yeah.
They couldn't afford him this episode.
Yeah.
A very guilty Jenny bumps into Lily, but luckily Nate steps in to cover her. Nate is definitely making a habit of saving Jenny. Jenny is melting down, and Nate pulls her in for a big old smooch. But if Jenny and Nate were trying to hide their relationship, it looks like the cat is about to burst out of the bag, howling and screaming. The mini Serena from the Dark Knight episode snaps a photo of the kiss.
Yep. You're way too public of a person to be kissing in public, the two of you.
Did everyone recognize
the little girl? Yeah.
I didn't. So I'm glad you said that. I did not.
Yeah. So she's a recurring, like her and the mini Blair come back a few times throughout the series.
Yeah. No, I remember them, but I didn't like put it together in this episode.
Yeah.
Back at the bar, Blair continues to whine at Serena, but thanks to Chuck's investigation, Blair gets a picture of Emma's mummy cheating on Daddy.
That seems like a good plan B.
Sure. Get it to Yale by blackmailing.
I mean, this is Blair.
Yeah.
It's Blair.
It is. It's definitely Blair.
That is classic Blair.
But would it really have worked
in Gossip Girl terms?
Well, I think it depends really how connected this woman really is, because I think it would work.
She basically got in based on the daughter's recommendation, so I guess the mom must be.
Then I guess it would probably.
Jenny and Agnes are doing some last minute prep. It looks like Agnes has a minion working the AV for the gala.
Now
don't do anything yet. Don't do anything creepy with my friend.
Yeah. Now, do you guys know the little weird trivia of that scene? Because I actually I found this out, and I was like, that it kind of makes sense. Notice that kid does not say a single line. He just does weird motions with his face, and
that
was a contest winner to get on the show.
Really? Wow, I did not know that.
Yeah, because when I watch TV or watch movies, I don't know. Sometimes that my weird thing in my mind, I'm like, why is that person just there? You know. So I went and I researched it. I found that apparently they had a contest to be on the show.
Ah, wow.
It was a contest winner.
See a lot of those in Gossip Girl, actually.
You know?
Yeah. A lot of just people just there.
Yeah. So, so that was a contest winner. They, wanted to be a role on Gossip Girl. And I'm like, okay, that totally makes sense. It tracks because No line, just the facial, something that you can just be like, stand here. It's kind of like I just recently found out that in the movie Masters of the Universe from 1987, the Dolph Lundgren one.
I prefer to think of it as the Frank Langella one.
Well, there you go. Well, okay, Frank Langella at towards the end, he grabs the staff from that little child.
Yeah.
That was a contest winner.
Oh, wow.
I remember that contest.
Yeah.
I remember that I entered that contest because fucking everybody entered that contest.
Of a certain age, everybody entered that contest.
Yeah. If I remember correctly, it was a clip off the proof of purchase from the back of your He-Man guy and send it in, and you could enter the contest.
Exactly.
Yes, I remember hating that kid because he won.
Yeah. I didn't know until recently that because I just purchased the 4K and I listened to the commentary with the director, and people said, people always wondered why this kid just, it was so random and weird. And he's like, because they made me put this kid in here because he was a contest winner.
Wow.
So again, that's where my mind kind of went, because I heard that and I thought this kid in this scene is just like, I'm just going to put a USB in this computer and have weird things. And I'm like, I don't know. Let me look it up. And I
Something's off here.
He won. He won.
Nice.
He won the role. Walk on roller Gossip Girl.
Another side note, Frank Langella is one of my fraternity brothers. He is a brother of Alpha Chi Rho.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. When I was pledging, he was listed in our book as one of our influential brothers because because by then this was well after Masters of the Universe and some other, Alpha Chi Rho brother.
Oh, wow. So this would have been like when, he was probably in that movie with Whoopi Goldberg.
At the loft, Rufus, Vanessa, and Dan are still trying to track down Jenny when Dan sees the Gossip Girl blast, showing Nate and Jenny kissing at the palace. He hides the blast from the others.
Yeah, and goes into Big Brother mode. He's such an asshole.
So yeah, was he doing this Big Brother mode, or was he also I guess Big Brother mode protecting my sister, or Big Brother mode, I'm going to kill Nate for making out with my sister.
And there is this big part of me that, when I was in college, my best friend made out with my little sister. And I wanted to strangle the life out of him.
Well, there you go.
For sure. I didn't. He's still my best friend.
Okay.
But I wanted to strangle the life out of him back then. So, I kind of get Dan here. I feel like I would have been like that, too, but also you're an asshole, Dan. Because I was also an asshole, too, to be fair.
I also noted something in the scene. Dan checking Gossip Girl alerts and getting Gossip Girl alerts on his computer now. He's fully kind of in the game now.
Oh, that's true.
That's a good point.
He went to Gossip Girl, or did he go to Gossip Girl to find her, or
it was an email blast, if I remember right?
Yeah,
it was.
Yeah. So clearly he's on the.
He's now
subscribed. Yeah, sure. He's now I'm in. I want to know this whole Gossip Girl world or whatever. So yeah,
we hear Lonely Boy's BFF still carries a torch for Nate. If she finds out about little sister, wonder who'll get burnt. We move into Act 3. RVD, not Rob Van Dam, but Rufus, Dan, and Vanessa are now in a cab heading towards the palace.
Okay, so
Dad, that's a one.
I've got to say something. That whole theme in the cab, and Rufus is banging and going absolutely crazy and giving the $1 bill. It's the worst acting that Rufus
really bad.
has ever done. I think in the span of this show.
This is honestly maybe Rufus's worst episode. And he's had another bad episode.
Yeah, he was really bad in this episode.
He was really bad in this one, but
the acting was very bad.
It was terrible.
Yeah.
And the thing is, I enjoy his character, but in this episode, I was just I feel the only reason they really put him in was here, have this be a dad. But he's did such a shitty job being a dad in this episode that it's just the episode could have actually been okay with him not even in it.
Yeah.
You know,
Well, what I've always said is I enjoy Rufus when he's interacting with Dan and when he's interacting with Lily.
yeah,
But when he's interacting with Jenny and parenting Jenny, he's horrible.
yeah.
Worst.
He's so different with his parenting towards Jenny than when he is with Dan.
Yeah. Completely different and really shitty to Jenny all the time.
RVD arrives at the palace and are let into the event by Lily, who seems to be just chilling by the entrance waiting to bump into people. Bart seems very annoyed when he sees Rufus at the event.
Fair.
The handshake
though.
alone. The handshake
That
alone.
was so, that awkward.
I'm going, well, I didn't invite him.
Yeah. But like,
But she didn't.
and Rufus had every right to, because this dude fucking shows up all the time. like this dude always shows up, and I thought we were not doing this anymore, Lily. Like,
Yeah.
but here's the thing where, like, this is the side of Bart that I do like. That Bart is annoyed, but Bart isn't being an asshole about it, and he's not flipping out.
I mean, he's all about decorum, so.
Yeah,
he's
he
not-
just keeps it, and he just, he's just setting it aside and compartmentalizing. And I like that about Bart. I like that he's not an explosive.
He's under control.
Yeah, Bart knows how much power he has.
Yes, he is Lex Luthor.
Yeah,
Well,
he knows that if he wanted to, he could have that guy fucking
well,
killed.
like father, like son in this episode. Then, if you really think about
Yeah.
it,
Yeah, very much.
because
yeah.
the way Chuck handled himself in this episode is the same way.
Yeah,
as
Chuck
Fred.
definitely learned at the foot of his father.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
definitely like father, like son. But again, that weird handshake that they have, that interaction is just like really weird and jarring to me. It's almost like
Yeah.
they get themselves like right here, and I'm like, is that not how you shake hands?
Yeah.
I'm gonna grab your arm.
Yeah. It was so awkward.
It was,
and
I
I loved it.
Well, the actor who plays Bart actually has kind of long arms, I feel like.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I know him
That
from a
could
bunch
be.
of B movies, so
Yeah, he's been. Yeah, I know he was on The Sopranos for an episode.
yeah,
Pretty funny role. Tony thought he was gay.
that's right. That's right.
Dorota was on a few episodes of The Sopranos in the last season
Oh, interesting.
as a Polish maid,
That's funny.
and she's actually talked about how she got typecasted as a Polish maid, and they got the role as Gossip Girl. Like they like saw her out for it.
Jeez.
And if you also forget, he was RoboCop in RoboCop 3.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Unfortunately, that movie exists.
That's what I'm going to say. Unfortunately, RoboCop 3.
Dan and Nate, sad. still laughing about RoboCop 3.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to sidetrack you, but every time I think of him, because again, he's a terrible actor in that movie, and RoboCop 3 is terrible.
Blair is thanking God for blackmailing evidence, but Serena convinces Blair to save Emma first. Looks like Blair and Chuck are alone and free to team up.
And Blair's like sitting there taking shots at Serena, like usual. Just and Serena just like takes it.
Yeah.
It's like okay, all right.
She's used to it.
Yeah.
Dan sees Nate without saying a word, grabs Nate and shoves him up against the wall before demanding answers. Nate plays it totally cool and does his best to de-escalate. Dan refrains from physical violence, but still judges Nate for the Catherine thing and tells him to hit the road, Jack. Don't you come back.
Yeah. Nate really tried to keep his cool too.
Yeah, he did
Nate
a great
really
job here.
every step of the way. Nate had every right to fucking knock him out at one point.
Yeah.
But Nate every step of the way was just like, okay, let's bring it down.
Yeah.
Okay.
Great de-escalation.
Fucking good guy Nate all the time.
Mhm.
And Robin was even like, my wife Robin was even like, Robin's words were, this is Dan's ugliest moment. Well, so far anyway. Thus far,
Hold on.
this is his ugliest moment.
I'm my lips right now.
Well,
Yeah.
because he not only is he shitty to Nate, he also betrayed Vanessa's trust. Like Vanessa trusted him with that information. So now Nate has every right to be mad at Vanessa too for that. So like Dan fucked both of his friends in one breath.
I don't really blame him for fucking Vanessa. I mean,
Vanessa should never have told them in the first place.
It's not. I mean, once Vanessa tells them, then the secret's basically out.
God, I just want to defend Vanessa right now.
Go for it.
Please do.
I mean, again, in this episode, she like this really has nothing to do in this episode.
Right. Which this show.
Yeah.
She tends to just not have a lot.
And I know that. And again, I get what her character really is supposed to be. But I just think she's a very adorable character that
she should be. She should be, but she has no reason to exist.
She has no reason to exist. But I guess from the way I interpret her character so far to this point in this show, they want her to be the audience. They want you to feel like sympathy for somebody. Again, the elite of all of these like rich, spoiled kids. She is your down-to-earth kid as well. Because you think Dan was supposed to be that character, but he's not.
Well, because he has to be sucked in.
Yeah, exactly.
I think that is what they intended in the first season. But again, like she just didn't have a reason to be in this world other than she was tagging along with Dan.
Right.
So she's always imposing herself. But then we also talked about a few episodes where she kind of took a turn where out of nowhere she approached Blair and blackmailed her just to help her with her project.
Right. I get that.
That was a big change for her character, I feel.
So basically she's the scrappy do.
Oh yeah. Oh, I think like at this point the writers realized that the fans hated her. So they're just going to now lean into her.
Yeah, and let her be more of an ass.
Yeah. Scrappy do.
Yep. Let's see if the fans like her more.
Yeah.
I have my doubts. Blair and Truck have tracked down Emma, and they are convinced to ditch Surge when she gets the blast. Muffy's muff got stuffed.
So fucking disgusting in the first place. Because, like, to post that on the internet about a 13-year-old middle school kid in the first place is fucking disgusting. Also, it begs the question, was Muffy stuff, or was this just a Chuck scheme? That comes out later, right?
Yeah, they tell him. We'll get into that, but yes, it's definitely a scheme.
Okay, yeah, I thought so.
Look, so I wanted to head, because the guy's real name is Serge, right?
Yeah.
So like Serge from like Beverly Hills Cop?
Yes.
Yeah.
Again,
perfect strangers.
Again, my head works in weird ways. I'll be the first to admit it. I get weird connections. I'm just thinking, holy cow, if there were this weird kind of world, I could see Serge from Beverly Hills Cop coming to New York.
So since you brought it up, have you watched the new one yet?
Yes,
I have not.
Yes, I have.
I'm scared.
Don't be.
Is it?
I've actually heard really good things.
It's much better than Part 3 because it's not rated PG-13.
I weirdly like Part 3 because it hit that weird spot in my childhood. We always had like HBO as a kid, so it played a million times.
Of course, yeah,
on HBO. So it's kind of I like 3 better than 2.
Okay.
I mean, 1's obviously the best, but I like 3 better than 2.
See, I'm a Gen X kid, so I grew up with 1 and 2. Like, even though I was a kid watching them, not supposed to be watching them, and Kenny Loggins soundtrack in Part 2, it's so much for me. This new one, I mean, it's a really, really, really good movie. They should just stop though, because everybody involved is just a little too old, you know.
Yeah.
Okay. Eddie Murphy is definitely not doing a lot of stunts in this movie. It's entertaining, you know, and
I will check it out.
It's streaming, so it was the smartest thing to do. There,
exactly.
They decided we're not going to play with the box office. We're just going to throw it out streaming. So yeah. There's my quick review. But back to Gossip Girl. Again, even though Serge is a homosexual, I could see him in this world too, just messing with these kids. And so, yeah, there's my two.
I just want to know what he was doing with that tulip.
Yeah.
Serena calls Aaron to give him yet another chance when yet another woman answers his phone. I mean, come on.
after he changes his voice, it must be his answering.
It is an answering.
Not his.
But that's also what gets me. Okay, so there's another girl there, right? And the answering machine kicks on. Again, I'm a Gen Xer. I grew up with the answering machine. You hear the message play. So that girl's there listening to that message go.
For someone else.
Right, for someone else. That girl's okay with it too. And then answers, who is this? Can I leave a message? I mean, what kind of girl's low self-esteem? I don't know. I'm just saying, that's just extremely low self-esteem. Because you want to be with this
low self-esteem and daddy issues.
Yeah, with daddy issues indeed.
Or just full-on polyamorous. Just like the flip side of it is,
Serena's just the odd one out.
Yeah. She just hasn't been invited into our group yet.
There you go.
I mean, Serena Leader does say, is it going to be the whole harem?
It's moments before showtime when Nate lets Jenny know her family is here looking for her. Jenny begs Nate to stay.
It was cute.
I definitely like Jenny and Nate together.
Again, yeah, it was very cute. Nate's still kind of, trying to redeem himself as a good guy in this episode.
I and throughout this podcast, I have championed Nate, where Nate has done some, I mean, even when he was, sleeping with someone for money, he was doing it not in a vacuum.
And also he was a victim.
He was a victim, and it was like out of desperation, and he was victimized. What? And
that's scene when he's in the limo driving away, just looking out the window, so sad.
So you're saying you're equivalent Nate to that puppy dog with the puppy dog eyes, saying, "Love me, I'm a puppy."
I mean, that's how I feel about him a lot, because he is like a golden retriever.
It's okay, Nate. You're a dumb dog, but we still love you.
And pretty much, he's a dumb dog. And like, if you put something in front of him, if you put the right leg in front of him, he's gonna hump it. Like, and those legs just happen.
He does kind of like shiny blonde things.
Yeah,
shiny blonde things is true.
But he also but he never mistreats the people that he
no, you're right.
He's kind of absent-minded about it.
Yeah,
he's a dumb dog.
Yeah, exactly. The only person he really has mistreated at all was Blair by cheating on her before the show started, and how he treated her in the first several episodes.
But that's because he didn't know.
Yeah.
And he was also getting he was basically he wanted to break up, or his parents were basically forcing him to date her.
Yeah, he like another very sympathetic side to him. Nate, to me, has always been a sympathetic character.
Lily and Bart are presented with an award when we see Lily smile and wink to someone in the crowd. Presumably Rufus, but maybe to some
I would hope not. I would hope maybe anyone else.
But I mean, it shows like it's a cut of Rufus like looking around the audience. They immediately cut to Lily and she winks. At the camera. It's like, okay, all right. So obviously there's still feelings there.
Obviously.
Yeah. I don't think this marriage to Bart's long for this world.
Well, I mean, I think it's more like I don't think this marriage to Lily.
Any
marriage to Lily is long for this world.
Fair enough. The lights go out, and the Yeah Yeah Yeahs cover of Sheena is a Punk Rocker plays over the PA speakers. A video montage of Agnes and her model friends wearing Jenny's designs play on the monitors. Then the models themselves burst into a darkened room carrying flashlights and dancing on the tables, even smashing a glass or two. I love the scene.
Yeah, Jenny did an amazing job on this event.
Yeah, first of all, I love the song. It's a great song. But the whole setup was, the lights just go out and everyone's like, well, what's going on? And then
and it
comes up.
Great, like, classic Ramones song that you then like have with the women vocalists from the AAS. Like, I really loved. I think Jenny just fucking nailed it, and I loved it.
And then at the end of it all, Jenny, in celebration, embraces and kisses Nate in view of everyone, including Vanessa. Jenny is immediately guilt-ridden and chases after V. So, yeah.
Yeah, and fucking Vanessa. Maybe if you didn't suck Vanessa is my note. Vanessa, maybe if you didn't suck so bad. Like, if you didn't, like, hate on Nate for the fucking tough decision and victimization that he went through. And, like...
Well, she does. I mean, if you remember, Nate clearly dumped her.
Yeah.
At the end, their last interaction, but she still hung up on him. So
I'll say, the middle part of this episode, they did basically say, I mean, she is still hung up.
Yeah.
So,
and I think it's implied from this scene that her and Jenny have talked about it.
Yeah, I would get that too. I think that's a good read.
Looks like it's bros before hoes for little Jay. Who knew when her loyalty kicked in, Nate would be kicked out. Gossip Girl's little scene over there. Dan and Rufus are still trying to track down Jenny. So they're still just running around.
Yeah. I got nothing.
Yeah. Blair is doing some mentoring with Emma. Once Emma steps out of the limo, Blair thanks Chuck for getting the Gossip Girl to put out a fake blast. This power Chuck has, I doubt it's one you learned from a Jedi. How did Chuck get Gossip Girl to put out a fake blast?
Yeah, and I mean, there's the obvious answer, but then there's also the idea that this isn't the first time Chuck has gotten Gossip Girl to put out a blast.
Yeah, so...
what's the obvious answer?
The obvious answer to me would be Chuck being Gossip Girl, which was what I called in episode 1, but I also have kind of backed off on any kind of speculation on that, only because I know that on a meta level, I know that they didn't really know who Gossip Girl was going to be until toward the end. That they had an idea, and then they started changing it, and then they had a few people in mind. So that's a piece of meta knowledge that I got.
Okay. Again, since I didn't watch this when it was actually
so on, I don't know who Gossip Girl is.
No, that's fine. And again, I'm not going to tell you. Because I did not watch this show when it was on. And while watching it, with my wife, I kept going, is it going to be this? Is it this? I went through the gambit.
Yeah.
And
I started that.
And because from day one, I was like, I want to figure this out. But then now that you tell me that, it reminds me of the whole, what I call the middle finger of the creators of Lost did to the public. It's not purgatory.
Yes.
It's not purgatory. Oh, wait, it is purgatory. A spoiler alert to anybody who has never watched Lost.
Yeah. After episode 1, when everybody came out and said, "Oh, they're all dead." No, they're not dead. What? That's ridiculous. And then as soon as the reveal, got you. Yeah. It's like, no, you didn't. You lied to us.
Yeah. And that's when you say lie, that's personally what made me mad about the show. Because
same.
I had altercation arguments at work with coworkers. One being Randy, who you know from last Roundup Horror.
Yeah.
Because that's actually where I met him at this job, and we would talk about the show Lost, every week. And I go, they're dead. This is clearly they're in purgatory. He's like, there's no way, And he's like, look, man. He would show me Entertainment Weekly magazine articles, and I'm like, look, they're lying to us. They're just lying to us. And then finally, when it ended, then finally the advent of, our cell phones, we start texting each other. We were working at different jobs. We both watched it. And I just texted him. I go, I told you.
Yeah. Yeah.
And all I got was, fuck you.
Yeah.
So I'm glad to hear that they had an idea, but not really, because I don't want another middle finger, what?
Yeah.
So if you're curious about the lore, at the beginning they were planning on it to be Eric.
Okay.
And
interesting.
Everyone figured it out.
Sure.
There was even a big New York Post article that was Eric. So at that point they just kind of scrapped it, and they were leading towards a couple different people, and there's a couple things pointing to it, and then I feel at the earliest they decided was the very end of season 5.
Okay.
Probably when they were writing the season 5 finale is when they decided.
All right.
And Now, the other reason that I would say that Chuck could get that blast out is that Chuck, I believe, would be a credible source to Gossip Girl. That if Gossip Girl saw something from Chuck, that she would say, okay, that seems legit, I'll blast it. Because
Blair seemed impressed that he got it.
Yeah, but that's also kind of weird because they all have gotten stuff posted on Gossip Girl at one point or another. Like Dan has had something posted on Gossip Girl.
See, the only reason why I think Chuck's got the quote-unquote cred to do that, Chuck already has pull within this world. So anything like that came from Chuck, you know, because he's already a popular figure in this world and people know who he is, Gossip Girl would be like, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and do it. Because if anything, it's going to be clicks for Gossip Girl, right?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I think Chuck's got the clout to do that.
Yeah.
Even if he may not know or if he doesn't know that he has that clout.
Yeah.
Blair does some mentoring with Emma and in a roundabout way admits that she loves, or at least loved, Chuck.
Is this where she refers to Muffy as the lacrostitute?
Yes.
Blair had some great lines in it. That was one of them. The other thing she said to Emma was, stop making sounds with your mouth, I think. Stop making sounds with your mouth.
Dan finally gets the bad news he was expecting from Jordan, the TA at Yale. Serena is there to comfort him. Dan seems to be regretting taking the moral high ground rather than selfishly using the people he knows for his writing.
I did like having a nice Dan Serena moment. I know it's setting up episode 10, which is going to be a Dan Serena episode. So I do like that moment. But my note here is Dan decides to be a bigger asshole.
I could not agree with you on that one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like you just see him in real time be like, I was only a shittier person. I might be able to achieve stuff.
Well, I mean, they've shown him going back and forth on writing this story for several episodes. Like
at least 3.
Clearly, like the people have told him, write this story and you can get it to Yale.
Yeah.
So I understand where he's coming from. But like that, he's finally now like he sees Jenny getting what she wants by
taking it.
Yeah, by taking it. So he's like, okay, I'm gonna do that too.
Yeah.
Which it's definitely like kind of going to the dark side, but
yeah. And what's funny is that Jenny did that, but Jenny also didn't hurt anyone, you know, like, whereas he's like,
she caused some
property damage, you know,
that's true. They didn't have to break those glass.
The event itself.
I mean, and it did interrupt the event. Like everyone ended up enjoying it, but it was a rude thing to do.
Yeah.
Technically. Blair brings Emma home only to find Mrs. Boardman is already waiting for them. Blair is about to blackmail Mrs. Boardman, potentially blowing up their family, when Blair decides to spare Emma added pain because she clearly sees a lot of herself in Emma.
Blair was so good. Like Leighton Meester was so good in this scene.
Yeah.
Like just the facial expressions and like that blank look at the end when she just loses the fight. When the fight goes out of her and you just see her portray that so masterfully. Fucking love watching her work.
Jenny is looking for Vanessa when Rufus finally tracks her down. Rufus is furious and demands that Jenny apologize to Lily. Lily accidentally undermines Rufus when she lets Jenny know that there's no need to apologize because she loved the Guerrilla fashion show. Rufus, off his rocker, tries to get Jenny arrested. Luckily, Lily steps in to defuse the situation.
Rufus is such an asshole. Like,
Before I'm going to defend him in this scene only because he's being a father and he's like also trying to cover his own ass because his 15-year-old daughter just messed up a gala event in New York. He doesn't know if he could get fined, if the fact that his daughter is going to end up going to jail, he's going to have to deal with that kind of crap. I mean, this is the only time I felt in this episode that Rufus actually acted fairly well.
But he knew it was Lily's event already, and Lily just came over and said, like, the reason why he went up to the cops is Lily wasn't going to do anything.
Well, Lily does the I Dream of Jeannie. You just I'm here.
Well, but Lily to be like, I'm not mad about this. And for him to then be like, well, fine, I'll show her. I'm going to have a cop arrest my kid because I'm mad still.
Yeah.
Like, that's the shitty parent.
Yeah. I mean, he can still be mad and ground or whatever, but
he said he was also trying to, like I've mentioned before, a lot of people in this episode, it's everybody covering their own asses and everybody kind of being their own selfish kind of way.
Well, I think my big problem with Rufus in general, and we touched on this earlier, the difference between how he treats Dan and Jenny. And I really think the biggest thing with Rufus is jealous that he had this career that didn't take off.
Yes.
He had this rock star career that fizzled because he wasn't good enough to make it any bigger than he made it. He was number 9 on the 10 most forgotten bands of the 90s, and that's where he landed. And so he doesn't want to see his kids go down in flames, but he won't let them take the risks that they are ready to make. Like,
well, I think you're kind of getting on the right track there, but he didn't necessarily go down in flames. Both times, he came home because he wanted to be with his kids. So does he secretly blame them? And now it's like, oh, they can have it, but I can't.
Oh, that's a good point.
That's a really good point.
That is a great point.
That is,
it's said both times that he didn't flame out. He came home because he wanted to be with his kids. We just saw just earlier this season, they wanted him back on tour.
Yeah.
He was going to do a big college stadium tour.
Yeah. And you're right. That is such a great insight fuck him. I'm so mad at him in this whole fucking episode.
Yeah, fuck him.
Again, did not need to be in this episode.
Again, like, Joppa, I agree with you. Like, this is, he's within his right to parent Jenny here and punish her. But don't call the fucking cops.
No, I mean, again, covering his own ass, because think about it. Let the cops sort it out, and I don't have to deal with it.
Yeah.
Again, that's being a lazy parent.
It's really lazy.
Never said he was parent of the year.
My dad used to do shit like that, like threaten to, like, well, if you ever did this, I would call the police on you. Like my dad would pull that kind of shit. And it was when I was an adult that I was like, what lazy parenting to call the police on your kid? Like, you can't handle them, so you're going to hand them over to the cops?
Poor Jenny. All that glamour almost led to the slammer. But what will the morning bring? We move into the epilogue. Chuck finds Nate once again squatting at his empty childhood home. Chuck tries to get Nate to come stay with him. However, whether it's his pride, anger towards Chuck, or a combination, Nate refuses the offer to instead go back to the Hamptons where his mom is staying.
Which sucks, which means that we're going to have another stretch of no Nate shows. Like, fuck. Like, Nate and Jenny are my favorite characters. So I love when Nate's on. And now it seems like both of them are going to be out for at least a little bit, I would think. I don't know. Maybe not Jenny.
I feel like Jenny's storyline is just starting.
Yeah, but I guess in my mind, the good storytelling would not have her in the next episode at all, because that gives Rufus reason to be really fucking freaking out. But I didn't write it, obviously.
Serena wakes Blair with some...
But I have taught writing.
Serena wakes Blair with some encouraging words. Serena asks to leave when she gets a visitor, and Blair has a call from the dean.
My note from this, I need to point out that my sister-in-law, Allison, would probably take high offense to Princeton is a trade school. when Serena said that she could possibly go to Princeton. Yeah. Princeton is a trade school. There is only Yale.
Aaron has come over to ask Serena to get breakfast with him. Serena first shuts him down, but somehow Aaron manages to convince her to go to dinner instead. Why, Serena? Why?
Yeah. Like, he's sweet, but doesn't seem very honest. And there's the whole, like, and what about this other girl? Well, I could explain that to you. But do you just want to go out to dinner or not? Like, How about you give me that explanation first? Like, why does she not want that explanation first? Like,
Because does this smell like chloroform?
yeah, he's
got something. Like,
striking me the wrong way.
He's rich. Let's not forget that.
that is true. And licorice. I mean,
Yeah.
He keeps stale licorice around his house.
Yeah, he does keep stale licorice for up to or at least 9 years.
Yeah.
Who knows when he started?
As Aaron leaves, Blair runs in, excitedly tells Serena that Emma talked her up to the dean, and it looks like Blair will get into Yale after all.
Good job, Blair.
Yay for Blair.
Yay for Blair. I'm happy for her.
In Brooklyn, Dan admits that Jenny's success has convinced him to turn in the story about Chuck Bass, or Charlie Trout. Rufus shows everyone where Dan gets his judgmental side. Oh, by the way, Jenny has moved out.
Yeah. Rufus can't handle being a no-hit wonder.
wow.
Ooh. Yeah. Super. Yeah, you can definitely see where Dan gets it.
Yeah.
And of course, Father of the Year, once again, he doesn't even notice his daughter moved out.
Yeah. You might be a little late for that, Dad.
Dan clearly noticed.
Yeah.
He didn't say, and he didn't tell.
Rufus like, yeah, Jenny left early this morning.
and he didn't tattle.
Yeah.
He didn't tattle. Just let her go. No New Tale to Tell by Love and Rockets plays over an episode closing montage. Serena and Blair are laying in bed, looking over the Yale course catalog. Nate is sending a letter to Jenny. Dan is sending a story to Noah Shapiro. Rufus is on the verge of tears, looking around at Genty's any room. And Jenny is dragging her bags down the street. S and B are headed to Yale. Nate's headed out of town, and Dan's headed for trouble. As for little J, she's nowhere to be seen. And that's the episode.
Yeah.
I really like the Blair and Serena. That was very cute. But,
Yeah.
but yeah, and so Dan, we already kind of thought Dan, we see him mailing the story, so he's definitely in now.
Yeah.
Dark Dan's here, and Jenny is homeless.
Yeah.
I mean, is she homeless or is she going to just go live with a friend?
She's a runner away.
Yeah. I mean, she's got all those phone calls to return from all those people. Someone will give her some money.
Steve, any predictions for next week?
Well, no Nate is my first prediction. So I do know that there will be a Dan-Serena interaction. I know that they're going to have an episode. I'm assuming that it's going to have something to do with Aaron. I'm hoping that we're wrapping that up soon. And other than that, I don't really have much of a prediction.
Any ideas where Jenny goes from here?
Well, I'm thinking that Jenny is going to, I do believe she's going to start making some of those contacts that are reaching out for her. Maybe even Lily. I could see her turning to Lily because Lily's cooler than Rufus. I honestly would, until we were talking earlier, I kind of wrote her off for an episode or two because I kind of figured that they would give a little bit of that she's missing, where is she, before really taking her further.
So let's go ahead and move into some segments. I'm going to be perfectly honest and admit that I totally forgot to look up This Week in Fandom, so we're just going to skip ahead to episode grades.
We lied in the intro. We brought you all the way here, and then we lied. Yeah. We pulled a Lost on you.
No fandom news this week. And my memory is not quite clear what happened. I guess people are probably pissed off at Rufus. They're probably pissed off at Vanessa.
Probably mad at Dan.
Yeah, they're probably mad at Dan. They're probably happy that Blair admitted that she loved Chuck, but frustrated that they can't admit it to each other still.
There'd probably be some mixed Jenny love and hate on the fashion show.
She's a very mixed character always.
Yeah.
So let's go ahead and get into some episode grades. Steve, you are up this week. So what do you got?
I gave this one a B+. I liked the A storyline. I didn't hate the B storyline despite it being weird. And then the Rufus stuff was just kind of sucked. But I didn't hate this episode. I found it engaging, at least. So I went B+.
John Paul?
Well, I gave it a C.
That-
I really felt that this episode was kind of all over the place. The whole chasing around the little runt kid trying to lose her virginity, the fashion show, and just the acting was not the best for a lot of these characters. And the writing, I don't know, it did not feel as fine-tuned as other episodes in this season so far. And so it's, again, not the worst, but also it was just average. It was just okay, So
I
definitely a
find
C.
I find that a lot of episodes have much better directing than writing.
Yeah, and I was going to say, and I know you guys mentioned that you liked the scene of the fashion show. I did too, but I also thought that scene was kind of shot poorly.
I'll agree with that. Yeah.
The way it would look.
I think it was shot on a handheld.
Yeah, maybe, or like because there's other things in this show when you see like fashion and different things, they're more glitzy and glamorous. And I understand because it was a guerrilla style. That's kind of what they were going to. But it just did not seem on the level that this show does when it comes to stuff like that. So
I feel like they're trying to make it like I said, I think it was a handheld, and I think they're trying to give it that kind of like in your face style. It didn't really hit, but I think I see what they're trying for.
And again, what hit me was like when they showed the pictures of the girls in the fashion, that was cool. But when they actually showed the actual models, that's where it was just like it went very jarring. So I don't know.
I said, I feel like they're trying to go for like that gritty style, like a Friday Night Lights, like with the handheld.
Yeah,
the jar, like the little bit of jarriness to it, but it just didn't.
Yeah, like I said, it missed.
It took a swing, but
it missed. And like I said, just the way the episode kind of just was like these acts were very kind of weird and disjointed. Because even the secondary weird stories that just like and also they would just kind of sometimes when they would jump back and forth. Scenes at the bar. Now you're over here. It's like, oh, I don't know.
The storytelling in this, there was a weird thing in the storytelling in this, where the epilogue of this episode, the episode epilogue happens after some of the denouement of the other storylines, right? Like we have like we have the climax of the fashion show, and then we have the falling action happening during Act 3 rather than throughout the epilogue like it usually does. Like they timed it weirdly in some places.
Yeah, I'm kind of in between you guys. I had it as a B-. I really, really liked the A storyline with Jenny. I love her getting her fashion show off. She got her J. Humphrey designs. Right. But yeah, the B storyline of the Emma was mediocre at best, and then the C storyline with Aaron and Serena was horrible. So yeah, B-.
Yeah, I think my thing with that B storyline was that I liked the team up. I didn't like I didn't like the motivation. You know, I didn't like the losing my virginity, which I felt like they needed it to be a big thing that's inappropriate for this kid to do. And so it just came out creepy, I felt.
Well, I agree with the creepy. I mean, you could have just been like, she's going out drinking. That's, that's a cliche, but yeah, you could have done that better than like, I just want to lose my virginity.
Yeah.
Because it was just, it was very creepy.
Before this other person.
Yes.
Moving on over to Stock Watch. Steve, who do you got going up?
Okay. So my stock going up, I have Jenny. I know she's homeless, but she also has 30 missed calls. Blair and Serena. Looks like Yale is doing well for them. I have Lily going up for just being a fucking champion for Jenny in the end and really coming through. And then I had Chuck going up because Chuck, was a good guy and wasn't a complete creep in this episode.
Yeah.
He wasn't a complete creep. He was just a little bit of a creep.
But the kind of creep you like, just, the entertaining smarmy.
Yeah, exactly.
But he doesn't actually do anything.
Yeah.
He just kind of talks in a smarmy way.
He does say to the 13-year-old girl, let's not ruin this by you talking.
He does say
so
that.
That's
right. You're right.
He does say that. But he doesn't go through with anything. Yeah. So, like...
Jean-Paul, who do you have going up?
Definitely Lily going up. You can tell that, wants to be supportive. didn't press charges or anything, kind of played along with it. Yeah, this was a fashion show. Yeah, it's cool. I would say Chuck, yeah, like you guys said, he wasn't his normal total creepazoid.
For me, I had Blair because she got into Yale. Oh, at least it looks like she's getting into Yale. I had Dan because even though he had bad moments, he's now winning. I think is the way to say it. He's gonna get what he wants. It looks like as well. And again, another one I didn't like to say going up, but I had to give it to Eric because he's got the wool pulled over Serena's eyes.
Could you add Aaron to me too?
Okay.
Yeah,
I hate to say it, but
he does. He does.
His stock is definitely up.
I kind of,
and then it also Chuck because same reasons. He's a decent.
It's funny. Well, that storyline, the C storyline, didn't even occur to me when I was doing Stock Watch. That's why I didn't think of Aaron. But you're right, he does go up, and I'm going to give it to him too.
Steve, who you got going down?
I have Dan going down for being a complete fucking asshole throughout the entire episode.
Oh, he definitely was an asshole.
Yeah, I understand where you're. It's funny because oftentimes you and I have the flip on that, where I'll see the business side of it, and you'll see like the fun, like. But like he was such a fucking asshole that I sent him down. And Rufus, I have Rufus going down for the parenting. I have Nate going down because Nate just kind of fucking lost everything. And I feel bad for Nate going down, but Nate's stock went down. Vanessa, because she was on screen. And then I also have Emma's mom going down. And I'm not talking about her date. I'm talking about
Mrs. Boardman.
Stock. Yeah, Mrs. Boardman's stock went down. Those are mine.
Jean-Paul?
All right. Well, I have Serena going down because she still falls for this idiot.
That is fair.
I mean,
That's fair. Like,
it's just like, come on. You think that she's learned better from falling for idiots, but no. So she's definitely going.
She has a type.
She does have a type, but yeah, she's definitely going down. I mean, I hate this, but yeah, Nate's going down because he's, homeless again, yeah, and having to deal with whatever.
Other than the match in the Hamptons.
Yeah, whatever he's going to have to deal with in the Hamptons.
Yeah, he's going to have to live full time at the estate in the Hamptons.
I mean, I know it's tough. It's really tough. It's really tough for him. So he's going down for that. Rufus for, being parent of the year.
Yeah.
I mean, we've talked about it. It's just, wow. Just, yeah. And who else do I got? I mean, yeah, because Vanessa had nothing to do, really, that was really worth a damn in this episode.
Yeah.
So she's going down. Even though I still enjoy her as a character, she is going down because, yeah, she was just not anything important in this episode.
I think I gave Vanessa stock up on her first episode, and I'm not sure I've given her up.
Poor Vanessa.
Yeah, I loved her in her first episode.
Vanessa's my puppy dog then.
That's fair.
She should have been a good character, but they just didn't know how to write her.
She's my puppy dog.
Which is weird. In the book, she goes to Constance with everyone else.
Yeah.
I don't know why they changed that. For me, going down, I didn't have Jenny going up or down. I had her as neutral because she looks like she's blowing up, but she's also homeless. So she's going neutral. Nate, I had going down for the same reason you guys said. He's homeless and he looks like he lost his friend Dan. They looked like they had a good thing going on for a couple episodes. Serena going down because looks like she's going to be going down.
Yeah.
It's called licorice.
Yes. And then I had Emma going down just because she was annoying all episode. And
that's fair.
Just being a dumb teenager, I guess. It's not really fair to Emma, but yeah. I just gave her down because I wanted to. And Mrs. Boardman, also I gave her going down because she was challenging Rufus for being the worst parent in the episode.
Yeah.
Surprisingly.
She actually succeeded, I think.
Yeah.
Rufus tried to get his daughter arrested, but she was like, I don't want to spend time with you.
Her screen time, she outdid him.
Yeah, she really did.
Her war is definitely higher.
Down as well because of that reason. I agree with you because you're right. Her screen time, I've got nothing to do. Yeah. Definitely
Her war.
Yeah.
And then last of all, Rufus, we talked about all episode. No need to elaborate.
Yeah.
Going on to best outfit.
But here's the best outfits from the last episode we've seen.
Steve, who you got?
I'm giving it to Jenny for the dress during the fashion show. Although Robin had the critique of, and I guess it's like a famous fashion person said that before you go out, look in the mirror and take off one thing. Robin did have that to say about Jenny's outfit, but I loved that dress. She was like, with the makeup and the hair, and she was like, there's too much punk rock happening. I loved it.
All right, John Paul, who do you got?
I've got to also go with Jenny. But I got to add that little hat thing she had.
Yeah, the chapeau.
Yeah, I don't know.
It
It was just adorable. I don't know why.
a little lace hat.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Yeah. So.
And also she had the gold locket. So
Yeah. So you're right.
always got to give props to the accessories.
The accessories. Yeah. So yeah, definitely.
And I was also going to give it to Jenny, but since you guys both gave it to her, I'm going to pivot to my second choice of the last minute, and it was Agnes's dress, the tulle. I wasn't a big fan of the tights. She had like camo tights, but I like the tulle with the black over top of it and the necktie, the loose necktie.
Nice. Yeah.
I originally did have Jenny written down.
So we all like punk rock girls, is what we're saying.
Yeah. I have been known to like a punk rock girl. And that is it for our segments. And we're going to get some plugs. But first, John Paul, thank you for joining us.
Yeah, we really appreciate
Thank you for having me.
Being on. Please, if you have anything you'd like to plug, please share and let us know.
So I have a small little segment in the last Roundup Horror podcast called Trailer Trash, where I just find horrible trailers of horrible movies and, see if the rest of the gang enjoys them or not. Lately they have, so I've not been doing my job right.
And I mean, it's a lot of fun.
Yeah,
it's a lot of fun.
It did stem from like during COVID. I had for a little bit a small podcast where I called Flockfest, where I would invite Randy over and force him to watch terrible movies, and then we would talk about them.
That's funny.
So kind of like Mystery Science Theater, but I didn't quite, open his eyes.
Yeah.
A lot of fun random musicals because, there's a lot of crazy stuff out there, like The Apple.
That's great.
We'll make sure to get the links in the show notes to check those out, folks. Steve, what are you plugging?
So I'm not sure exactly when this is coming out, but I'm pretty sure it's before October, right? So October 18th and 19th, I will be a part of the Lock Haven Fringe Festival. If you're in central Pennsylvania, come out to Lock Haven. I'll be playing, last year I know I played 2 sets at 2 different places on 2 different nights. So I don't know what it's going to look like this year, but I'll have more details as we get closer. But come out to Lock Haven for the Fringe Festival.
As for me, if you want to follow me on social media, you can find me on Instagram at Hot Capicola. And then if you want to follow the podcast, you can find us on Threads, on Instagram, and on TikTok at Non-Judging Breakfast Pod. And then we're also on Twitter, X, as at NJB Pod. You can also find our Facebook group by searching for Non-Judging Breakfast Pod. And if you want links to our Discord server or our Reddit, you can find it on our website, nonjudgingbreakfastpod.com.
And if you'd like to get in touch with us, we'd love to hear what you have to say. Please send us an email at nonjudgingbreakfastpod@gmail.com. And we'd love to read what you have to say on air, and we'd love to get you more involved in the conversation. Also, while you're listening, please take a second to like and subscribe and follow and comment on what you're hearing. It really helps boost our visibility. And also, please tell a friend what you're listening to and get other folks listening to the podcast with us. You can now watch Gossip Girl along with us for free on Tubi. Tubi is not paying us to say that. It's just that we want people to watch Gossip Girl and watch us.
Yep.
And so you can do that for free on Tubi now. Before it was only available on Max. But now you can watch it for free and watch along with us. So please do.
And we will be talking about another episode next week. It'll be Season 2, Episode 10, Bonfire of the Vanity. The Max episode description reads, Jenny moves in with Agnes. Oh, I guess she's not homeless after all.
No. Oh my God. Does what's his name still there? Is Agnes's boyfriend?
That was Max's place.
Oh, okay.
They were asking for, yeah. We'll see where. I mean, presumably. I mean, Agnes is also a minor, so presumably she lives with her parents.
We'll see. I mean, Vanessa doesn't.
True. Well, until next time, you know you love us.
XOXO.
Every time you walk away, run away, you take a piece of me with you there. Every time you walk away, run away, you take a piece of me with you there. Every time you walk away, run away, you take a piece of me with you there. Oh, it seems I'm walking right to your door. My heart's still resting, looking for something more. Are you ever gonna see everything you mean to me? I'm trying really hard to believe. Every time you walk away or run away, you take a piece of me with you there. Every time you walk away or run away, you take a piece of me with you there. Every time you walk away or run away, you take a piece of me with you there. Never feels right when I'm out here on my own. I left last night and it feels like way too long. Are you ever gonna see everything you mean to me? I'm trying really hard to believe. Every time you walk away or run away, you take a piece of me with you there. Every time you walk away or run away, you take a piece of me with you there. Every time you walk away or run away, you take a piece of me with you there. Come back to me. Smile and you'll make my life complete. Every time you walk away or run away, you take a piece of me with you there. Every time you walk away or run away, you take a piece of me with you there. Every time you walk away or run away, you take a piece of me with you there. Every time you walk away or run away, you take a piece of me with you there. Every time you walk away or run away, you take a piece of me with you there. Every time you walk away or run away, you take a piece of me with you there. Every time you walk away or run away, you take a piece of me with you there. Every time you walk away or run away, you take a piece of me with you.